Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Weekly Bento, the weekly musings of us nerds here on the Otaku Crypt. Once again, it is I, Crypt Keeper Joshy T. This week, my thoughts are brought to me by another show I've been watching this interesting fall anime season, and that is a little gem called Keijo. Keijo follows the exploits of a group of young girls as they try and make their way into a new professional sport called Keijo that involves bikini-clad women standing on a floating island in the middle of the pool and trying to knock each other off, but contact is only allowed to be made with breasts and butts. Now, if you're not hooked already, and the hilarious part is, my first thought with watching this show is that this sport had to exist in Japan already, right? Turns out this is completely fictional. Because this is exactly the kind of weird crap that usually exists in Japan. But no, this is just in an anime. However, if this show actually becomes really popular, you can bet your ass that this will be a real thing in Japan in the very near future. So is there a Rule 43 for made-up sports? I'm still waiting on Blitzball, but you'd have to learn to hold your breath for 10 minutes. Anyways, the watching of this show was just more about being in on the joke. It is a very silly show, and that quick synopsis is all you need to know. The show is TNA. Literally. Even when they're trying to break down their made-up sciences of this sport, they're even tongue-in-cheek about the way they name things. And of course, this show involves all these girls attending an academy where they go to learn how to play this sport because, of course, there's a school. Which instantly made me think, if all of these schools and animes actually existed, Japan would have no real estate for people to just live. It would all be taken up by way overly specialized academies. Just a thought. But they even go so far as to talk about the studies of butt-bumping techniques as astrology. Astrology. So of course this is a show to not be taken seriously at all. You are just watching it for the ridiculousness of it. And I know a few of my friends are going to be way into the show. The way I described it right away is that this is an ecchi nightmare, and I'm going to watch every single episode of it. Which brings me to what I've been thinking about this week, and that is that term I just used, which is ecchi. Ecchi is a term that refers to things in anime that are sexual and suggestive, but do not include perversion as it would if it were hentai. My simplest explanation for this is, if you're watching an ecchi show, you're watching Barbie doll TNA. That is where genitals are smoothed out and there's no nipples on breasts, and that is what basically allows it to be kept in the realm of a PG-13 show, I guess. Things are just, you see form, but everything is suggestive and not shown. It is a bit of a polarizing spot in anime, and I think some of these shows contribute to the misconceptions in anime because seeing a show like that, if you're not an anime viewer, is just going to convince you that any adult who's watching any kind of anime is just doing it for some kind of perversion. And all judgments aside, I do see how certain shows have done that. Girls Bravo is the one that always comes to mind. It has no point other than to just be suggestive for no reason. But then at the same time, some ecchi shows are actually really well done, and I think the line seems to be at action shows versus comedies. Comedies tend to just be that. They're just showing TNA for the sake of it, and any attempts at plot and even character design seem to suffer as a result. Whereas in ecchi action shows, there is way more put into them, and I'm going to bring up two examples that I know is going to win me major cool points with a couple of my friends, and that is the first of which is Queen's Blade, which is almost quintessential ecchi viewing right now. Because Queen's Blade not only involves a pretty subversive plot because of It is based around a tournament, but there are inner workings involved and a villain behind the scenes. But also, it is a show with some of the most beautiful character design in anime. And yes, it is all 99%, the exception is Tomoe, completely suggestive and scantily clad. But you can also not tell me that characters like Reina and Claudette are not instantly identifiable if you've been around anime for a while. Even if you haven't seen them, you probably have seen their likenesses before. Another example of that being a personal favorite of mine, which is Ikkitosen. Ikkitosen not only does a pretty creative job of basing its stories on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is a famous piece of Chinese literature, it again incorporates amazing character design. Once again, everybody has probably seen Kanu, even if they don't know her by name. So that is to say, no two ecchi shows, just like no two anime, are alike. Certain ones tend to be grouped together as just ridiculousness, and are more just to be laughed at. Kind of thing that's fun to watch with friends and just laughed at. Heaven's Lost Property, which kind of toes the line between, you know, pure ecchi show and a bit of action, is a good one to get together and watch with friends just for the sake of it, as that is what I did with that show, and it's kind of forgettable, but it was fun to watch with friends. And where I think ecchi shows have their value is that they're actually good palate cleansers for when, say, you've been steeped in something super serious. I know when I finally cave and watch ReZero, which I've been told is all the feels, I've been building up to that one, I'm probably going to finish that and need to watch something absolutely ridiculous to get over it. And that is where it's fun. The thing that I have been comparing it to in my head is the people who will watch reality television but are still well adjusted. It's not people who only watch reality television and can only talk about it. This is more the people who watch it once a week to laugh at it and turn off their brain, because that is an amazing way to recharge and get over all the seriousness you've been going through. Again, that's how I feel with ecchi shows, with a couple of them being examples as actually good anime that also tend to flash some skin. But on that note, oddly enough, all of my friends who are way into ecchi anime are female. Sarah and Chantel, I am talking to you. Directly to you. On that note, if you want to watch a video of those two as two Queensblade characters being way too friendly and way too pandering, here it is. Pandering video. Don't say I never gave you guys anything. But there you go. That's pretty much what's been on my brain this week. I hope you guys enjoyed my musings, and I hope you guys will check out all of our other stuff. You can go see everything here on our YouTube channel, and of course over at www.otakukrypt.com. I am recording this on Devil's Night, so if you guys have been out at Halloween parties this past weekend, or you're going on Halloween night, hope you guys have a safe and fun and just responsible enough type of night. And with that, I will see you next week, or maybe somebody else. You never know. I'm really playing this by ear. Alright. Yeah. We'll see you next time, guys.